Hello there guys, it's Joey and this is a new spell set and a spell salt for the store, which was a request, and this is the Aspen Priestess relating to the Aspen Eadha. Now Eadha is also poplar, so Aspen or poplar depending on the interpretation. It's kind of one of those either or, which is a little bit of an odd situation. But it was requested that I create the salts, and I realised we didn't have the Priestess set for the store, and I was like, oh, that's a shame. And then I immediately got a visualisation of what the candle was to be, and I was like, right, on it, go, do it. So the relationship of the Ogham and the Priestess. So the magic of this particular tree is for balance, the grey, the balance between the light side and the shadow side. And I think it's interesting to get into concepts of light and shadow, because this is how we kind of tend to divide a lot of things. Light and dark half of the year are two Celtic sides of the same coin, the Celtic division between light half of the year and dark half of the year, and that's more to do with what's going on with the light in nature. But we do talk about the light sides and the dark side of ourselves, and sometimes I wonder if perhaps we put too much of an onus on those things, and rather than doing that we should be focusing on the many terrible book references aside, shade of grey within oneself, within the kaleidoscope of oneself. And I think Eadha really addresses this, because it not only has this light and dark balance, but it also is about hearing the messages of the gods and not allowing fear to overcome us. And it particularly does address things to do with anxiety and fear, and it helps us to overcome difficulties, especially where fear is paralysing us, where fear is making things 10 times worse, where we need to act but we're afraid to do so, we're afraid of what people will think, we're afraid of what this future will bring, and so on and so forth, and all these sort of negative self-doubt things that we can do to ourselves which stop us from progressing down the path. And so the Eadha, the Aspen Priestess speaks from my meditation that I did with this energy of this priestess. Shake not from fear, but instead allow the divine message to reverberate throughout your noble self. Balance when you stumble, courage when you falter, walk the path as only you can. I actually love this poem, and it's not one of the poems that gets frequent attention. And I don't know why this is. I don't know if it's because it deals with fear and the shaking, because, you know, that's the first thing you always see when people are addressing this poem. It's like, oh, it's about shaking and the fear element, and it brings fears up to the surface and all that. And it's like, well, often it's fear which is the problem, you know. Fear is the mind killer, to quote a great author. And we do need to deal with those fears inside ourselves. We do need to address those, and sometimes our relationship with the divine is the lifeline. The messages from the divine can help us dealing with our fears of this, that, and then whatever it is that's holding us back. And we only really find our nobler selves when we are afraid. To quote another famous author, the only time a man or woman can be brave is when they are afraid. That's paraphrasing, that's not the direct quote. And fear teaches us to be nobler, to be better, because we face it and we understand something about ourselves in the process. And I think it's a wonderful poem. I think it's beautiful. So I'll have a quick zoom in on all the individual products. These are the spell salts. Pretty. This is the spell oil. Now the oil is technically already available on the store as a singular item, but I shall be placing this one in the duo with the candle. And last but not least, my personal new favourite thing in the whole world, because it's gorgeous and it reflects just how much I love this poem, is the spell votive. Blah, 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 blah. Mwah. You're so gorgeous, you're so pretty. Oh. And why? Why is something that people often represent as being associated with fear beautiful? Because I think fear makes us beautiful, or it makes us ugly. And the choice is with us. That's mine, that's all mine, there's no quoting. That's it for this particular spell range. Many blessings.